Hello and welcome to a brand new interview series called Cargo Masterminds. In this show, we interview air cargo industry's best minds, leaders who lead cargo organizations and people into the rapidly evolving new world of trade and commerce transformed by digitalization strategies. We call them the masterminds of the air cargo industry. I'm Reggie John, editor of Stat Media Group, an offline and online transport and logistic media organization that has to its credit publications like the Stat Trade Times, Indian Transport and Logistic News, and Logistic Update Africa. Today, our guest is Stephen Paul Menz, Chief Customer Officer of Nalian, an open data sharing platform for business collaboration in logistics, particularly air cargo, helping communities of business partners and stakeholders to become high performance clusters. Hi, Stephen. Welcome to the show.
Hey Reggie, nice to talk to you again, and always a pleasure to see you again.
What a way to start our new interview series called Cargo Masterminds. And this is the first episode, and we are so pleased to have you join us here because you took off today with your new responsibility with Nalian as Chief Customer Officer. Stephen, so give us a sense of the responsibility that you have at Nalian.
Yeah, I think that Nalian is still a relatively small company, a fast-growing company, so they are indeed expanding. And the idea is that with my network and my experience from the other side, from a customer point of view, that I indeed start helping Nalian's customers in their individual journey and how we can improve their operations and mainly on digitization. Because we have as Nalian, we have a wide portfolio of solutions, and that goes from small off-the-shelf applications for individual enterprises up to very specific customer-tailored solutions for whole communities. So with my experience, I will really be able to have that individual journey with customers to find out what can be done to make them operate smarter, more efficient, and more in a community collaboration model.
What made you to take up this
Uh-huh.
responsibility?
Yeah. So when I mentioned a few months ago, already quite some months ago, that I was leaving Brussels Airport, I spent quite some time talking to a lot of people in this industry. And on one hand, I learned how interesting this industry is and the wide variety of jobs available in this industry. So that was really a nice exploration myself. And honestly speaking, this position was not something that was on top of mind for me. It's only some days before Christmas in December that the CEO, Jean Verheyen, approached me and said, "Look, Stephen, you have not made a decision yet. Do you keep it secret or is it open? Because otherwise, I'm interested to talk to you because why not join Nalian?" And for me, it was something like, okay, never thought about it, but it made so much sense. And the moment he asked it, I have felt those goosebumps because this is what I've been doing with so much passion in the last years. And that was for me the big change, that it was a lot of interesting jobs, but this was so close to my heart. And I immediately had yeah, this match. I know them, they know me. And before we knew, we found an interesting joint uh, mission that we could do together, and they would also allow me to continue with Tiaka, which was also very important to me. So suddenly within days, without all the details known, there was like a click that we say, okay, let's go for this. So it was very an emotional, passionate decision rather than a real rational decision.
Stephen, you have had a very impressive, a decade-old career at Brussels Airport, building the cargo division of the airport into a very formidable position within Europe. That was a tough job. At the same time, pretty glamorous one, if I'm allowed to say so. Uh, don't you think that you have settled for something small, but in no way less important?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's a question that more people will ask me. So thanks for asking, Reggie. The glamorous part, I was never interested about. I think that came more as a result of what we have been doing, and absolutely, I'm really proud of what we did in those 10 years with Brussels Airport and what I'm leaving behind. So that is not going away. Absolutely, it's a complete different job. Um, but also it's probably putting me more out of my comfort zone, this job, than the previous one, and that's also very important to me. Now I'm working for a single company, but also still with a lot of communities. It's still international, and it's in a I'm very familiar with the air cargo industry. I'm very familiar with the customers. I'm not an IT specialist. So working now for an IT company with people who talk a language that I'm have to ask 10 times, okay, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Is also something that is going to allow me to learn again and to grow as well. But I see the mission and the opportunities that are ahead of us, I think are growing so fast, so strong, that I don't see it as a smaller job. This is also a company growing really fast. The fact that I can be also in the front of the bus in developing this company and growing this company is also something very interesting that I'm very keen in to join. So I don't see it as a step back. On the contrary.
Okay, as Chief Customer Officer, what are your top priorities in the current role, and what has been the brief to you from the Nalian management?
Yeah, I think one of the benefits that we have is I know this company now for 5 years, but they also know me for the last 5 years. And although they are expanding a lot out of Brussels now, and it's not just a Brussels operation anymore, um, they know, of course, what are my strong points, what are my weak points, and what contribution I have for the company, and vice versa. So I think there was not a long briefing on what they expect or do not expect. I think that they know what they're getting. It's very clear what they are doing. They are really working with a lot of communities. My experience on cargo, on working with communities, establishing communities, my focus on collaboration is going to be an important one on which they want to build their operations. Because you can have the technology, and they have a really good technology, but a lot of what is happening in our industry is not about technology, but is also about change management, and it's behavior that we need to change. And I think that is something where I can really add value to them, and that's going to be my contribution to the story.
Stephen, there is a common perception, at least to some circles, that Nalin is a very local Brussels Belgium brand. To some extent, it appears to be a fair assessment. I think because the brand had its foundation at the Brussels airport, and you literally led the digital community initiative and proved a product like Group Cloud can be something that could be created around any other airports anywhere in the world. Therefore, what will be your specific strategy to take Nalian out of the local to the global, basically to shed the common perception that Nalian is a Belgian, it's a British brand.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a perception. It is correct. 5 years ago, when I was looking for a new community system in Brussels, we were looking at something not a traditional way of working, and by accident we came in contact with this company, not active in logistics or air cargo. So it's correct that Brussels was the first step into air cargo, into logistics even, and that we started building this from scratch. In the meantime, they are active in Asia. They also opened a branch in Singapore with an office. There are several airports in Europe they are working with. There is one in the United States. So I think that they are already going from local to more global. With my international network and the role I've been playing internationally, I really think I can help them in positioning and branding them as a global company. But I think the most important is like we always say, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. We really hope that in the next months, we can add companies on a global scale, communities that start working with Nalian and use their technology to improve their processes and create more transparency and efficiency in communities or in single companies. And I think that will be the best and the strongest message to the market, that we're talking about a global company with a global focus and not local solutions. When we talk about cloud solutions, and also what we said in Brussels always is we want to have a local cloud, but in the end, if you don't have a global solution, you only still have part of the story. So the focus is absolutely global, and that is going to be the mission for the months and years ahead of us.
Stephen, I want to ask the next question, and it has got two parts. One is how do you intend to grow the Nadian business in the mid to long term, purely from your existing air cargo industry application that you have, and I also believe that Nadian application to customers is beyond air cargo mode. There is something already that Nadian uses for other mode of transport. But how would you also like to make it even bigger for cutting across all modes of transport?
Yeah, it's a fair question, because in the end, we really believe as a company that there is going to be global connectivity, not only for air cargo, but for all modes of transport. So you cannot sit on an island in Brussels. You cannot sit on an island as air cargo. You have to be connected on a logistic basis. That's the ultimate goal. We have a lot of off-the-shelf products and applications that companies can use from the start. That's one thing. The second thing will be that with companies using an application, we will see with existing customers how we will grow. And maybe we have a customer in an airport, and you can add applications, or you can other companies to grow that community, or you can have new communities. So there's still a huge potential to grow them organically or with new entrants. And that is our prime focus. At the same time, we are having a lot of contacts with other modes of transport. Nalian is already active in railway, where they do capacity sharing applications. We have very good contacts with the Port of Antwerp, with Nextport. That's the open data sharing platform created a few years ago, where also Nalian's technology is being used. So we keep a close eye on that intermodality. But in the short term, air cargo and growing air cargo will be our prime focus. But as a growing company and a financially healthy company, we are looking at all options to grow our business organically or via acquisitions, or any opportunity that helps us to grow faster and stronger, we will look at.
Do you have any specific targets by the end of the year? You would have that many more communities created around different airports in North America, maybe Asia?
Yeah, we have some ideas, and we have been talking and exploring these ideas a lot. We don't have fixed targets yet, and I'm not really sure if I was going to share them already at this stage with you. I think this is also the fun of a smaller company that is still in its early years. Very agile, very flexible. You don't write the strategies on 200 pages like you are used sometimes in big companies. They have a very clear focus and a very clear strategy, and we have a very strong ambition on what we want to realize, and growth is absolutely part of it. But to say it's going to be 3 new communities, it's 5 new communities. Sometimes, and that's the flexibility we want to show, there's an opportunity to grow much faster in an existing airport, and then we will take that opportunity. But we are ready to tackle both at the same time, growing in existing companies and adding new. Company has been growing a lot last year, hired a lot of people to be ready for a next big jump. And that's what we want to realize, and that's why also they want me to join this company.
Stephen, I believe your current designation as Chief Customer Officer, I'm sure that you will strategically get involved in the company's scale up of the operation, involvement of company to kind of really grow in size, in geography, in terms of the number of customers. I'm sure that these are very early days for you, but to what extent will you be really actively involved in the strategic goals of the company?
Yeah, well, it's very clear. It's a C-level function. There's going to be a very close cooperation with the CEO and the rest of the management team. It's a very small, dedicated management team. and I will be involved in all aspects of this company, and I will use my expertise and knowledge not only on a network or sales level to the external world, but the fact that I can indeed participate in growing this company and being part of the strategy of the company was also very important to me. And that also gives me indeed the feeling that it's not a step back, but that I'm really part of the driving in the driving seat of this company and growing this company.
Now, Stephen, having gone through the last 10 months of various stages of lockdown and work from home, what is your assessment of the idea of digital transformation and logistics with specific reference to air cargo? There's been also a common perception that air cargo industry is so much behind when it comes to digitalization and digital and the use of digital technologies. Uh, has your perception changed over the last 8 months, having seen what air cargo industry delivered in the last 8 months? What a lot of us actually working from home.
I think that our industry is not only slow when it comes to innovation, but even adoption of what it already exists is a problem and a struggle. And that is not only for digitization, that's for a lot of things. And that is not an easy thing to overcome due to the fragmentation of our industry. But I do have the feeling that in general, the whole COVID pandemic has been a catalyst for change. And I think that things that would take us 3 to 5 years in normal life are suddenly happening much faster. And that is also the case for digitization. When we set, and like in so many places, we are talking about homework for years. It's going to come and we are going to work more from home. But at the same time, traffic jams in the morning were becoming longer and longer. And suddenly all companies who are saying, but we need to talk to unions and to staff, and it's policy and safety and security, we cannot do this. Suddenly within weeks, everybody was working from home. And we managed to do it. So often you see that when there is an external push, we are better in adopting than when it has to come from the inside. So let's use that momentum and absolutely speed up that process. Also the contactless working. With the whole COVID, suddenly digital apps and working on a digital way is becoming much more normal in all aspects of life. When I was going to shops, how you want to order anything from restaurants to other ones, everybody has a web shop, everybody does home delivery, you can do payments on the phone. We have seen a speed up of digital payments so fast that it's not going to go back. So I really think that we made a jump and that we have raised the bar to a new level that is going to be the new baseline. So I really think that digitization is going to speed up in the years to come, and it's regrettable to say, but COVID played a big role in that.
Stephen, my last question is about you. You continue to be the chairman of TIACA, and you have Glenn Hughes assuming the role of Director General next month. How do you intend to allocate your resources to TIACA as its chairman with your current and new assignment at Navin? Do you think that you will have more time for TIACA?
More time will be difficult because, and I have to be very thankful to Brussels Airport for that. They allowed me to spend quite some time to TIACA because last year was a very difficult year with the whole transition and all the change we went through. But part of the change we did at TIACA and the transition we did at TIACA was to make sure that we had a stronger organization and that there would be less board involvement in future, not only from a governance point of view, but also that it becomes more and more difficult to have board members too much involved in the day-to-day business. And I believe that for the continuity, but also for TIACA itself, this was not the way forward. So a lot of the changes that we did was exactly to have less involvement from board, so that board could really start acting as a board and that TIACA as an organization would become stronger. This is also the reason why we went for Glenn, somebody who is really adding so much value and who is really able to manage that organization. So in the new structure, the Director General, we consider like more or less the CEO of the company. So if I have to spend as much time to TIACA as I did last year, I think that we would be failing in our achievements or goals that we planned for TIACA. So I think it will be less. But at the same time, the whole change has been done. I do want to take responsibility for the outcome. I've been a big supporter and advocate of all this change. I also would like to take responsibility for the outcome and for the results. It would be too easy now to say, and now it's up to somebody else, all the work is done. No, again, the proof in the pudding is in the eating, and we will have to see this year if all the changes we initiated are the right ones. So I do want to spend time at Tiaka. I'm not going to stand on the sideline. That was part of the discussion. And I work for a company that really embraces and enables collaboration on a global level. Tiaka is the physical enabler, what this company is trying to do on a digital. So it would be really strange that they would not support organizations as Tiaka. Because they do see the match of collaboration. It's not just a digital collaboration that is going to make progress and bring us forward. It's also the physical collaboration that remains very necessary. So I will be very much involved and I will spend the time necessary. And if that means a bit in the evenings and the weekends again, it will be my pleasure to do so.
Thanks, Stephen, for your time, and I really like to wish you the very best as you begin as the Chief Customer Officer at Nalin. It's a new step in your career, and it's a very interesting and exciting time ahead when we think about the digitalization, digital transformation of the air cargo industry. Once again, wish you the very best in your new assignment.
Thank you very much, Reggie, and thanks for having me on the show again. Thanks a lot.
That was Stephen Paulmans, Chief Customer Officer of Nalian, joining us in the very first episode of our new show called Cargo Masterminds, where we talk to leaders of the air cargo industry. Thanks for joining us.